the studio with us. One woman.
A big fish.
She's a big fish. She's been there, she's done that. She's grown with the industry.
Yes.
And she's no longer a newbie. She is, in fact, a veteran who has been doing tremendously well in the industry and in supporting her colleagues, older and younger colleagues, in her own way and capacity.
Yeah.
I'm talking about no other but Foluke Daramola Salako. You're welcome to Nollywood already.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here after the back and forth since last year.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here and well done. You guys are doing fantastic here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Foluke Daramola Salako was born in February 15, 1978 in Ondo State. She's a renowned actress, producer, and activist. Foluke graduated from Obafemi Awolowo University with a degree in international relations and also a master's degree in international law and diplomacy from the University of Lagos. She begins her acting career in 1998 with a debut film appearance in the series Palace. Some people are still kids.
I mean,
I know, right?
Foluke has featured in over 100 movies, including Olokiki Oru, Jennifer, Family on Fire, Iyako, Kudi Klepto.
Yes, sir.
Foluke is known for always interpreting her roles excellently and diligently. She's also known as the voice of the voiceless against domestic violence. She's also the advocate for women's rights. Foluke is married to Kayode Salako and is a proud mother. Known for her outspoken nature and dedication to her craft, she remains a respected figure in the entertainment industry.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So I know that we had to drag you off your set. We are very sorry, but this was necessary because conversations like this, add to the repertoire of the industry.
I guess.
So I understand that you're doing a YouTube series now. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah,
That's what you're shooting now.
I'm doing a YouTube series for actually it's for my husband's school, but it talks about the ills of the society. But I shot a short film that's called I'm Sorry. It's a comedy. It has very strong message, but it's one that has to do with abuse in marriage. It's a comedy, but it's nice.
Okay, I know you have this sitcom also on, I think, African Magic, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember the exact... Ogba Meko, that's it. I mean, so when I'd seen it a couple of times, but my first viewing, I was like, so what was going on in your mind? And so, I have you here. Let me ask you, what was going on in your mind?
Actually, for the mechanic craft, especially in Africa, a lot of times it's always a male-dominated environment, and then everybody believe that it's for illiterate people that are not. I was trying to pass a strong message actually that such industry, such craft is not restricted to just the illiterate, and it's not restricted to the male. You understand? So I was making it comical, but I was also sending a message. For any movie series that I do, I like to pass messages, and I try as much as possible not to talk religion. I like to talk about tropical issues that affect individuals directly, that you can gain from, you understand? And also I like to make it as comical as possible, if not comical, romantic, because I'm a romantic.
Interesting. We'll get there. We'll get to that.
So I was going to take you back to your profile that we read.
Yeah.
International relations, international law and diplomacy.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're gunning to become an ambassador or something, like a diplomat.
Yeah.
And then you now chose Nollywood.
Yeah.
It feels like an imbalance of sorts because Nollywood is not the easiest of industries. It's not the easiest career choice.
It's not.
Why did you stay?
Actually, Nollywood came as a refuge and as a help to me in times of need. How do I mean? I lost my father when I was only 3. So, and by the time I got admitted into the university, it was about 2 of us that was admitted into university at the same time. And my mother, a poor widow, she couldn't sustain maintaining 2 people in school at the same time. But before I left the secondary school, I'd already started doing talk shows, DBN, Teen TV with Chichi Okaro. I was on Our Time on AIT. So acting came as a way for me to balance things in my life. And I'd always liked them. I'd always looked at people like, because then Omotola Jaladi and Fedamata did Mortal Inheritance. So when they did Mortal Inheritance, I just looked at Mortal and I was like, I think I can do this. I think I can do this. And so when my mentors, Tunji Bamishigbe and Mr. Rafawadike and late Charles Oyemi started Palace, and I had this best close friend of mine then, Bisola, Honorable Bisola Fadarami. So we're just watching it together, and Bisola said, she has a crush on Anta Laniyo, that she would just like Anta to be her boyfriend. I said, me, I would like Jide Kosoko to be my daddy. Teenage fantasies. And lo and behold, we're in AIT just chatting away at the reception, and then Uncle Charles and Uncle Tunji precisely said, do you guys want to ask? I said, yes. He said, okay, what movie? I said, I want movie. He said, Palace. I said, yeah. We shouted, and he was like, you're going to be the daughter to Jide Kosoko. And then he said Bisola was going to be Anta's girlfriend that he now discovered was his daughter. So it was like our dreams to what we wanted just came through. Now the other problem was now getting it across to tell my mom. Because then showbiz was not nice to the average parent. It was like, you just want to spoil my life. You want to go into show business. And fortunately or unfortunately for me, when we went to shoot our first session, I was one of the people that was in the teaser, the advert of Palace, at the last bit. So one day I was in the house with my mom and we were watching TV. I just showed them. My mom said, Foluke, she will call him. I call. So it was really funny, that he had to take my mentors to come and convince my mom that I will go to school. I will make sure I don't disappoint her, and I will come out tops in class, because she doesn't want people saying that it's because it's the widowed mother that trained her. That is why she has turned out negative or to the other side.
Interesting. So now, after accomplishing all that in school and all that, and you were out, you now decided to now
continue.
What was your mom's response at that time?
Because I could, by that time, I said it brought solace, because throughout my time in school, though it was tedious, I would come to Lagos every week to shoot Palace. Then we would collect 2,000 or 3,000 per episode, which would sustain me. I would take a bus from Lagos to Ibadan with just 300 naira. And then the rest of the money, I'll sustain myself for that. And then Palace was, you will shoot, Uncle Tunji will write the script for us on set. Wow. You understand? So we'll write it for us on set, and then we'll be able to get it done, and then we'll shoot. So it's when we are available that he writes his script. So when you are not available, it will exactly. So that's how he does it then. So that was what I was sustaining myself with, and then I'll still go for auditions in between. I'll go for auditions and all that. Then I was more English than Yoruba movies. So I'll go for auditions, and then I had a movie that really gave me the big break, A Baba's Wisdom. I shot it with late Amaka Igwe, Uncle Tunji Bamishigbe, Tajuddin Adekpetu was the producer, Amaka Igwe directed, and Tunde Kelani was the director of photography, the cinematography. So that movie fetched me a whooping 1.5 million then. At that time, and then when you want to buy a Tokumbo car, by then you get it for 300k or 400k. You remember those Toyota Corolla with like double and those egg-like ones. That was supposed to be my first car. But immediately I got the 1.5 million. My mom just started crying that she doesn't want me to have a car in school, because I might be tempted to be driving from Ife to Lagos, and that was dangerous. So I had to fix the money and then be able to collect it when I had graduated. And obviously, if you are in the arts industry, it's so liberally inclined, and then you have your time that at some point it will be almost impossible for you to go to the official world, like a banker, like you understand. So I knew, and then being a diplomat is the exact opposite of being you understand. You are erratic, you are spontaneous, you are everything. When you are in the arts industry, you are not normal. I'm telling you, you're everything but normal. But in the diplomat world, you have to be prim and proper. So I just told myself that, look. But one thing, I had to fulfill one need for my mom, because she told me, she said, you have to make sure, because all my siblings were Efiko. You have to make sure that you would not stop at degree. But you have to do your masters. If possible, your PhD. I said, Mommy, I will help you with the masters, but please help me with the PhD. Let us agree. Even though I would have still wanted to do it, I'm from Ekiti. So you know how we are with books. But you know, basically, the arts is like, it became my first love over time. First it was being a diplomat, but over time, because of the fact that it came into me and it's been able to put a lot of food and value to my life, automatically it was something that I just hung on to. Do you understand? And so far, have I regretted? I haven't. Even though a lot of my colleagues are making much more money than I could ever make, but then it's still okay.
Never say never.
Yeah.
Interesting. So when you broke out, it was from an English film.
Yes.
English speaking.
Yes.
Film.
Yeah.
But you made your fame,
Mm-hmm.
On TV.
Yes.
However, when you got into the Yoruba speaking
Genre,
films,
yeah.
you came up almost immediately. Was it because you've made your face on TV? And why did you now settle, quote and unquote, for the Yoruba?
Okay, first and foremost, when it was after I almost graduated, or when I graduated from Ife, that I started doing Yoruba movies. Now, the reason for this was because I had a lecturer that was telling me, Foluke, you can't speak English more than the English man. If you do not relate with your culture, then it's if you relate with your culture, there's something we call, in international politics, there's something what we call the international actor. It's not necessarily the actor. Sometimes the prominent person in the society is also called an actor. Nelson Mandela is an actor. You understand? Barack Obama is an international actor. You understand? So my lecturer, as my mentor, then told me that you have to get to the basics. You have to get to the roots. That you just have to preach your story in a peculiar and unique way that people would connect to. You understand? So I said okay, and that was when I started doing the Yoruba, and then in Yoruba, in the Yoruba genre, once you are able to understand some peculiarities, there's this thing that they say wajelo, because first thing first in the Yoruba genre, respect is sacrosanct.
True.
So I was coming from the English genre. I won't mention the name of the older colleague, and she said, she told me later that's what she said, that my best We're in Oshobo. That was one of the first jobs that I did. The person was talking to late Bimpe Adekola, Auntie Reti. And so when I go, I say, Auntie Reti! Yeah, Auntie! I won't mention the person's name. No, you won't force me to.
The person is alive.
Yeah, alive and well. She's one of my wonderful big sis. I can't even mention, it's not a big deal. It's Auntie Faithia. And she's like, I worry, yeah, Auntie Faithia! Yeah! I just jumped at them. They were shocked. They're like, They were thinking maybe I was going to be uptight, and you know how it is, like you have to do the assault thing. But guess what? Just be yourself. You understand? And I find out that the Yoruba genre might not give as much money, but it gives fame.
True.
It gives fame. You can't take it away. And it might not have as much money, because judging from what I was taking in the English genre with likes of Kenneth Okonkwo when I acted with him, and even Uche Jumbo, and we were collecting big money in the English speaking genre. But in the Yoruba genre, we won't collect as much, but the fame is like 10 times over. So the truth of the matter is, for you, if you have, when you understand that, okay, what do I need? Do I need the money? And then the money can also transcend, because I'm a deep thinker. The fame can transcend to the money that you want, and then at the end of the day, you can still swing anyways once you understand what works with each of the platforms. So for me, I had to be able to go through both to understand how both works. despite being in the Yoruba genre, my first major production, what's it called now? Cobwebs. I shared it with about 15 million at then. And then P&G, Procter & Gamble sponsored it from likes of Shola Fajobi. Now, I set the pace. I was doing the Yoruba genre, but I was able to infuse my English actors into the Yoruba one, and we did an English movie, and it was fantastic. So for me, I just needed to feel each spot, and so I can blend either ways. When you take me to an English set, I'll do it. When you take me to a Yoruba set, it will still flow.
But there's this mindset, although quite a number of Yoruba speaking actors will quickly say it's untrue. But there's this notion that the only reason most actors who act in Yoruba speaking films is basically because they do not understand, they are not well lettered, to speak correctly in English speaking films. How true is that? Now,
I wouldn't want to talk down on any tribe or but I tell you something. Give it to the average Yoruba people. Do you know how many master's degree holder we have in the Yoruba industry? Do you know how many PhD holders that we have in the Yoruba genre? From the Arugbos, the older ones, to the younger ones. But because of the fact that, because of our dialect or our intonation, you understand, you tend to think that this person cannot speak English very well. Maybe because of it has a bit of Ondo undertone or a bit of Ekiti undertone. No. In Ekiti, you find out that you have the most amount of professors, but the way they speak their English, they will still say, you will still see that is this guy speaking English or is speaking Ekiti? You understand? You understand, but it just means that is your dialect. Luckily for the people from the East, English is like that lingua franca, apart from their language, you understand? So a lot of them are used to speaking English. But at the same time, it doesn't make the Yoruba. I can start counting. If I start from now till we finish, and even till night, I can count how many people are degree holders, and not just degree holders that can speak impeccable English. But just because they decide, okay, this is my craft. For instance, Buki writes, when the first movie I did with Fidelis Duka, Blood Brothers, the first movie I did with Fidelis Duka, Buki writes was on that set. And that was when she told me that, Foluke, I want to go and do your bow. You understand? Auntie, I think I can deliver more in Yoruba. And guess what? She did. It doesn't mean that she can't in fact, you know how it is. It's more difficult. It's more tedious to speak in Yoruba, to have a Yoruba script. You know why? Because you have to improvise. And you have to maintain continuity. You understand? Sometimes you have a script and you read this script like, okay, let me improvise. And then you will still maintain the same continuity over and over again. Abi, how do you write script for incantation? It's true. So the truth of the matter is more tedious. You understand? But it's just that it is a passion. For some of us, some older people have set the pace for this thing, and it's a passion and real hard work for them to have come this far. So when you say it's because we can't speak English, I feel slighted, because it's talking down great work of art that is being put in what we do.
Okay, so I'll take you back to your own craft as an actor. So back in the day, the industry thrived on drama only.
Yeah.
That was our forte. But now the industry is growing so much that we are seeing other genres like action, a lot more fantasy.
Yeah.
Genres that were pretty much alien to the Nigerian film industry.
Or Africa.
Mm-hmm. Now, because of those new genres, newer roles are opening up. And actors are beginning to vie for those roles. What kind of roles are you looking forward to taking on that you have not yet experienced?
Okay. I have a script that is going to be very bad, that I'm going to be preaching something huge. It's a script that has morality, that has spiritual conduct, but has some wild angles to it. You understand? And guess what? People have never seen Foluke, for instance, being a lesbian. Now, being a lesbian can be just you dramatizing it. Mm-hmm. But acting it, if you have to act it, it has to be almost like you. That is acting. No shortcut to it. That's why a lot of movies, when I direct movies and you say you have to kiss, I would ask you, can you do it? Because there's no shortcut to these things. When you are doing there's a difference between peck and kiss. Can you do it? Can you interpret the role as lovers with chemistry? Now, let me tell you something. There's a difference between you making love every now and then or kissing that people say that you are in love. No. I directed a movie. It was just about spontaneous act. It was just about the mind. I played with the mind. You understand? For instance, two lovers, we just okay, hold the lady by her backside and just push her to the bathroom and just shut the door with your leg. People have wild imagination about it. If you understand, there are some things that you create and then you are still preaching the same message. So at the end of the day, it's for you to be able to know that, okay, now this act is for you to be able to, can you bring it out like that? It's not because I can't do any role. I have to be mentally ready to know that, okay, I want to do the role of a quote and unquote be bitch, for instance. Now, I now say, okay, I now start smoking, and now start doing. Sometimes I feel like it's being stupid. I'm serious. If you can't go all out, don't do it. When I was growing up, I was a conservative. Now I'm much older. I can take decisions by myself. I can do things. When I do some things, my children, I'll tell myself, listen, if I'm not doing it at all, then I'm not doing it. It's not because I'm moral. I'm not a morally upright person. I'm sorry. So there's no reason for me to now start saying, okay, if you see me as this lady has done this beach role and she did it well, then I'm a good actor. If you can think about it, that girl, that is, I have delivered the role well.
It's believable.
Yes, so my part of my resolution this year is that I'm not taking any morally upright roles anymore.
Wow.
So it's going to be another, because at the end of the day, if you imagine, Foluke Daramola has gradually become a bad woman. That is, I have successfully passed that message across. You understand? Patience Ozoko, she's a fantastic actress. That is why you will see her and say, I can never have this woman as my mother-in-law. You don't understand, even where she's on set and where she's not.
Yes,
so I told myself from 2025, it's going to be a wild Foluke in the act.
Okay, you mentioned your directing skill. At what point did you pick up the directing skill? And if I might add, I know you've produced before you became a director.
Yes.
So at what point did you pick up your directing skills? Now, how do you now combine the whole thing? Because the Ogba mechanic that we mentioned earlier on, you directed it, you wrote it.
Yeah, I did.
Now, you are the producer.
Yeah.
Co-producer. So you are because I do ask people when they do this, you are having three important roles
in one
to make that set work.
Okay.
How do you combine? So first, when did you pick up your directing skills? Okay. Then two, how do you now combine these three roles together?
Okay. First and foremost, I would call myself a perfectionist in the art of creative industry. Now, coming to when I started directing, I started producing in 2002. I produced my first job, 2002, yeah. Now, in 2005, when I got married, I had my baby. I was pregnant with my baby. Wasn't my first one, it was my first one. So my director was supposed to come out. I wanted to shoot a movie before, I was about 7 months gone. I wanted to shoot a movie before going on my maternity leave. Okay. So I just wanted to have something. So I'd already discussed with my director, Mr. Jare, I didn't know that I was going to produce the movie, and I'd called the cast, likes of Funsho Adeolu, Ayo Mogaji, and everything. So the director just told me a day before that he's sorry he will not be available for me to shoot that. He had other things to do. So I had to postpone the shoot. And I didn't want my tummy protruding more. in the film, because I was supposed to do a dual character role there.
Okay.
So I now thought, and before then, I would go to a Yoruba set with no animosity towards anybody, and I will see that sometimes the continuity can be lousy. You enter with black, come out, enter a room with, enter the toilet with black top and come out with a green one. And a lot of times, and then you try to speak the English that you don't even know, and that always got to me, because a lot of my friends will say, Chibu walk away. What happened now? Why are you people behaving like this now? Why are you embarrassing us? So even before then, I would be on myself and say, no. Ekuku Soni Yoba, Abike Sobai. You understand? And I always had that issue. And some directors wouldn't even like it. That why am I interfering? So I just told myself that I could try this thing. Don't forget, anywhere that you find something that's hard, that's where you find me. I'll be there to go and put my power on it. So I now said, okay. I now called Funshi. I said, Funshi, I've booked this day too, and this guy says no. I said, but I've been reading on directing then. Mm-hmm. I used to do a lot of reading. Phone has taken a lot from us these days. So and I've been reading on directing. I think that I should be able to do it. He said, but FK, you are pregnant now. I said, yes. It's like a big brother. I said, yes, but I think that with professionals on set, I think we'll be able to do it. And he said, okay, no problem. Let's try it. And so I was pregnant, though there was a lot of aid here and there. That was in 2005 when I was pregnant with my first daughter. Even despite the fact that after that recording, we shot it. Then we used to shoot about 7-8 days. You understand? In fact, 10 days. I think we shot it around Ishaga. Okay. Now, at the end of the day, they were when sometimes I'll get so tired, they will assist me. Sometimes I'll be sleeping, I'll be dozing on set. You understand? I won't be able to monitor my lines. But at the end of the day, we finished the shoot. After that, Brother Said now called me to come and shoot a movie for him. He was the only person that gave me that challenge.
Was he on that set?
No, another movie.
Set of your film.
After I finished my set, he now invited me to come and shoot Obasha, to direct Obasha for him, myself and Okwe Olusonya. You understand? And so that gave me. By that time, I had my baby, and then I started directing my movies. Then, but then. It's not now like when one shoot a YouTube movie, you can just say, okay, I want to shoot. Then you have to psych yourself mentally, say, okay, I'm going to set this, that. So when I shot, after finishing Obasha, I just knew that I had this thing in me. So I'd read more on it. I took a short course in London on directing, and I started doing my thing.
So how do you cope?
Now, coping for me is if I know that, for instance, if I have to do a cinema Netflix job, I would definitely not direct it. Okay. Because I have to bring out the best in myself, and I have to concentrate on my acting. You understand? But for a YouTube movie, for instance, this one that I'm doing, I would have already edited my script in my head. I would have already known what I want to shoot in my head. I already have an idea of what, and then when I'm editing, when I'm directing in my head, I'm also entering into character in my head as well. You understand? And most times when I have to direct like that, I have an assistant director. Okay. Now, the reason why I have an assistant director is not because of the fact that but because of the fact that there are some things that I will tell him that I want him to note, especially in the acting and the following of lines. You understand? And I'll have a very, very good and efficient continuity. You understand? So all that at the end of the day will combine to a beautiful picture with less stress for me.
Okay, so I have 2 questions, and that's my first. I want to talk about your activism.
Yeah.
When exactly did that start? Was that what prompted you to do international relations and international law and diplomacy?
Okay.
That's one. And then 2, marriage is a sore topic of sorts in any business, any aspect of showbiz. Everybody has opinions. and not everybody has experienced it, and there are a lot of insinuations and assumptions out there. What are the lessons that marriage has taught you that you have applied in life generally?
Okay. First, concerning the activism, when I was in Ife, the first year in Ife, we had our usual aluta. Okay. And when we had the aluta, I was just, a fresh jambite entering school, excited and everything. Someone that has not left his mother's under before. I just left her mother's under, and she was excited about being in the university. And then we had the aluta, and I had to carry my bag on my head. I had to move from SUG. You should understand how far Ife is. I had to move from SUG to the gate, and I was just going, hey, mommy, mio, because I entered university early. I entered university when I was 16. So when I got back to the house, because of that work and that experience, it toughened me. That was like baptism of fire for me. So by the time I was coming back to Ife, it was around the time that they killed Africa. Okay. You understand? That was in year 3 or so, year 2. No, year 3. No, year 2. So when they killed Africa, I felt it was gruesome. I felt it was unfair. I felt that things should not be done in that manner. But there was really nothing I could do because I was just a young lady. And I had a lot of toasters, quote and unquote, that were cult boys. So because they were toasting me then, they would prevent all other boys to come around me. And they didn't know that they were doing me a favor. You understand? Because, anyways. So anyways, when I got to year 3, I told myself I wanted to be a part of the SUG. Because I felt the pain of a mother because of the fact that how active Africa had been. I had an interface with him once when we had the first aluta we had, and I knew how active he was, and he was saying that we will do this. If the government does not do this for us, we will have to do this. We will have to do this, So I felt like a part of me was taken away, despite not having a close contact with him. So I said I was going to be part of the SUG. I couldn't have been the president because that was male dominated. It's still male dominated as we speak. And I feel that's unfair anyways. And 2, I don't want to be the vice president because the vice president, like the second in command, is like he's not active. He can't have any. So I told myself, I said I'd rather be welfare or somewhere that I can be happy or social. You understand? So, and I had a battle to contend with. So I contested against Alinko.
Okay. Boy Alinko.
And so I did everything. Then the likes of Sylvia Eden was my very close friend because we finished with them. We finished in the same department, international relations. So eventually I won the election. So when I won the election, the first thing I wanted to do was I wanted to have Africa concerts. You understand? And when I had the Africa, I had lots of plantation boys, was Two-Face and these people called, and then everybody, and then we had to have that. So that was how I started my journey to activism. That subsequent aluta, I'll be at the forefront. At some point, my mom was like, hey, what is all this? Because she was afraid. But by that time, I had toughened up, and then I knew that you had to fight. You don't just treat people anyhow, and they will tell the government of the school that no, when there's bad water you have to address it, when this happens to this, when it and then I was at the forefront. But of course I had a widowed mother that will always be crying that you have to still be careful. So I knew I had that in me for a long time. So when I came out of and then my first introduction to sex was rape. I was raped by my tenants. And so
your mom's tenants?
My mom's tenants, okay. Yeah, in the house. So I was frigid. Sex was like something that I would rather not be involved in. So, but when my first marriage didn't work because of the fact, for one or two reasons, and maybe because my frigidity had to do with it, and I was stepping out of the marriage. I had a relationship. I dated a guy, and the guy told me that, Foluke, you have a psychological problem. I think you should visit a shrink. I'm like, I'm not mad now. Why would you tell me to visit a shrink? And I said, no, there's no only mad people. But after I saw that I was getting upset about the discussion, he stopped talking about it. And I said, I want us to go to Abuja. Or I want to see one of my friends. I said, okay, no problem. So we went there, not knowing that his friend was a shrink. So, but somehow, when he would talk about this incident, I'll get upset. But later, I became relaxed around him. I just knew that we were there for about a week. You had to sacrifice all that. And by the time I realized what was happening, by the 5th or 6th day, I could talk comfortably with him about the rape incident, which I never did with anybody, even my family. Though I told my family members, and after I went to the police station, they were like, "What you wear? What you carry? Why you go there?" I crawl back into my shell. So I'm talking to my activism experience. So after the guy now told me that what he's been doing with me has been a therapy, that he told Tunde not to tell me that I should just come for the therapy. Eventually he told me something. He said, you have to be able to talk about your rape experience, that if it's in talking about it that you will heal completely. And I started, the first time I spoke about it in the Punch newspapers, people were just calling me, what are you thinking? It was as if I had done something wrong. And at some point, I now realized the gravity of the way people see rape. They tend to push, the perpetrator is being made to look like the macho, and then the victim, the person that had been raped, is meant to see herself like the evil herself. Eventually, I was asked to have a foundation. And because when I did my interview with the Punch, I met some French guys. They said, do you have a foundation? I don't have a foundation. And that was when I opened Passion Against Rape and Abuse in Africa Foundation.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Foluke Daramola Salako. We know we have a lot to talk about. In fact, there are some other questions that we've not even touched. And we hope that you come back next time, because we've run out of time. And I can see my producer already angry with me. But I couldn't stop those lovely conversations. We needed to have it. There are conversations we needed to have. And we hope that very soon, you will come back for a part 2, because we need to conclude it all. We need to conclude this. I'm sorry that I have to.
It's okay. I enjoyed myself too.
Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
And on that note, we end today's edition of Nollywood on Radio. See you same time next week. Bye.